Hello, I'm Jim, and today you're in Jim's Garage. So previously I recorded a video on changing the transmission fluid in Mini Cooper 2013, Mini Cooper S. In the video I go through the process of removing the transmission fluid from the bottom of the transmission oil pan, and I essentially measure the amount of transmission fluid that comes out of the oil pan, and then I use a pump to pump in a little bit excess transmission fluid back into the oil pan, such that the amount of transmission fluid that was put into the oil pan into the transmission and taken out of the transmission was equal. One thing about this procedure is that the amount of transmission fluid that was taken out was only 2.5 quarts of transmission fluid. The Mini itself has approximately 5 quarts in the whole transmission, so you can see that this only really replaces maybe almost 1/2 of the transmission fluid, maybe even a little bit less. So ideally you'd like to do this maybe 2 or 3 times in order that the fluid is really refreshed. In the process of doing this, I came across some problems, and so I thought I would go through those problems so it's very clear on how to level the transmission fluid properly. Alright, just putting this leveling adapter back in. Now I'm going to put in the adapter for the pump. I'm not going to really screw it on too tight, just enough so that it's secure. Alright, now I'm going to put this on until it's on, and I'm going to start pumping fluid into the transmission. Seems like that's enough to pump is at about 5 psi. So as it goes lower, I'll pump it up a little bit more. So now I'm done putting the transmission oil back in the transmission, and I turned off this valve. I'm going to go ahead and warm up the car and start the car and wait for the transmission pan to heat up to the right temperature. The oil pan is pretty close to 40 degrees. Then I'm going to shut off the car. I've already went through the gears, but I'll do it one more time when I get close to 45. We're going to release this from the car. It's going to start dripping out. Okay. Okay, that definitely seems like this time we should stop it. So at this point, what I did is I went to go measure the level of transmission fluid that was taken out of the transmission, and it turned out to be about 3.5 liters, where I had added 2.5 liters. And this concerned me because it seemed like in this leveling procedure I had actually reduced the level of transmission fluid by 1 quart, and So I figured out that I had done something wrong in the procedure on filling the transmission and checking the level. In order to rectify this, I decided to try to use a procedure to figure out what the level of the transmission fluid should be. And this procedure essentially entails turning on the car, having the car warm up to between 35 and 45 degrees, keep the engine running while you're opening the bottom of the transmission fluid plug and determining whether any oil is coming out of the overflow tube or not. And if oil isn't coming out of the overflow tube, then you need to add additional transmission fluid to the transmission and then start the process all over again. Have the car back on the stands, and I'm going to determine what the temperature of the transmission oil is using the scanner. And I removed the adapter after I pumped in some oil. The oil pump must have been pushing oil up into the transmission because nothing was coming out of the drain area. So I had to go back, turn off the car, add some more transmission oil fluid into the transmission, and then come back, turn on the car, see what the temperature was, go back down, remove the adapter, and again it wasn't filled. So I end up putting back in at least about 1 3/4 quarts. And this is the key here, is that you really do need to have the car running while you check the fill plug. Hope this was a helpful video. Thanks, bye.